It's our first official video for 2025, and I must take out time to wish you a happy new year because I know it's already way gone into the month January. But still, I would want to wish you again, especially a happy new year and welcome to 2025. With me on today's episode, I would say today's episode is pretty much very special. It's our CenterKick preview special with a wonderful guest, of which I am going to introduce to you in a short while. Please do not forget, you are to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us across all our social media handles. Yes, we're here, so let's get straight into business. For today's special preview, let's welcome on board Mr. Nsidibe. Yes, how are you feeling? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm feeling fine. It's a new year,
Yeah.
new feelings. Everything is new,
Yeah.
and I'm here with CenterKick, so it has to be really special.
All right, so let me use this opportunity. I saw him the last time, I think the last game against Eyimba, one of the media palace, and I had mentioned the year before that you were supposed to give me Christmas gifts. And of course, for obvious reasons, you rescheduled it. You said it has to be New Year. So please tell our lovely fans what you will give me for a New Year because they're waiting, yes.
Well, I have packages for everyone, so including AJ. So
Please mention because I have to tell them. I want to be sure.
you want to ruin the surprise package? I have packages for everyone, so just take it as a surprise.
Okay, so guys, we're coming back to this. We're coming
Of
back
course.
to this. Yes.
Of course, we should.
Going into our area of focus for today, I specially kept it aside. I didn't want to tell the fans yet. So we're talking about everything CAF calendar for 2025. Yeah, we'll do a little bit of the NPFL and of course Nigeria as a whole. So let's start with you've seen CAF earlier this week sent out their calendar for the year, and you saw the list of events. On a general basis, let me get your view of those events packed for us as Africans.
Well, I think it's exciting times being an African,
Yeah,
especially in the media sphere.
yeah.
You know, you have different competitions. If you can't make it to,
One,
let's say, the Chan that is
yeah.
coming up in a few weeks' time, then you have to prepare for the under-17 AFCON. Also, we also have to prepare for the under-20. You have the women's AFCON, and of course, it's going to climax at the main tournament, the one that all of us are expecting.
AFCON.
Yeah, the
Yes.
one in Morocco in
yeah.
December. So it's a really packed year for CAF and for African football, and I think I like it. Let's have this event. Then let's have more events to focus on, not just a year that you'll be expecting or waiting for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. But it's pretty. It's going to be very fun. Having the Chan come up first,
Yeah.
and I like the fact that it's Chan that is coming up first because we pretty much focus our attention on it,
Yeah.
and whatever comes out of it, we are not going to judge the Chan. Let's say we had the AFCON in January.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
we had the 2025 AFCON in January. After the AFCON, then we'll be having Chan.
Okay.
You understand how people will be judging that, looking at say, look at what Chan of AFCON offered, and look at what we are having in Chan. Because of course, I know for a fact that we are going to talk about Chan.
Yeah.
But I think it's a pretty nice year for African football, and for the media space, I think we should be bouncing because we have lots of travels.
Yeah. That's meaning a lot of financials on you guys and yes, on our end. I think I'm there.
Yeah,
I think I'm there too.
Yeah, of course you are.
Yeah.
You should be making plans. I think CenterKick should be making plans too.
CenterKick, yes, we are making plans.
Chan is
So we're
here.
calling for sponsors.
Yeah,
because
Chan is here, so it's an opportunity to visit
Wow.
three amazing countries.
That's like my
And-
birth month, so
Yeah.
I would love to. But I mean, I'm open. I'm open to any surprise. that
Of
will
course,
come
you
with
should.
it.
You should. I know the Oga behind the camera is having good plans.
Yeah,
for-
it could be my birthday treat. Yeah.
You never can tell.
Yes. Before we head into any other of the tournaments, let's talk about the one that is still ongoing. We have the CAF Champions League going on, which is going to take till like June.
And the CAF Confederations
Yeah, and the
Cup.
CAF Confederations Cup. Let's talk about that tournament. We've seen different performance. Let's start with CAF Confederation Cup. Of course, that's the only tournament that we have
Yeah,
the Nigeria team
representing.
here representing. You were at the last match. Talk about it. Your experience, your expectations, of course, I would say I would judge that it was met, but I mean, let's get your view.
Well, I had expected Enyimba to come out with a win, come out victorious in that particular encounter. But I wasn't expecting them to win by 4 goals to 1.
It could have been 7.
It could have been. Yeah, it could have been. Liza Batule had lots of chances to score. But, kudos to him. He came back from that injury and he came back straight into the team and scored 2 goals on the day. So it was pretty very good. And also when you have, can I say he's a legend? Let me not say he's a legend. Maybe a former Super Eagles striker coming back. Everyone say this guy is washed. The guy don't finish now.
And he came back.
And he came back and you see the kind of goal that he scored.
Very, very professional, very well thought out. It was prim and proper. Yeah.
So you see that a player of that caliber bringing that kind of experience to Enyimba, he's going to do something to the dressing room. He's going to do something to look at the players. When players look around, they know there's an idea in this particular team. So they have to step up their game. And of course, they have to meet the demands of this particular player. So I think it was a good game for Enyimba International and for everyone that was at the stadium witnessing this particular encounter. I think the Black Bulls, they played well. You have to give it to them.
Because when they played at home, of course, Enyimba was trashed. I was expecting it was going to be a tough run for Enyimba, but it was
it was a bit easy for Enyimba. You wouldn't say it was a walkover.
Yeah.
So you have to give a credit to Enyimba.
Yeah.
And the team was led by Stanley Goma. Let's say he wasn't on the touchline, but we all of us understand the reasons why he wasn't there. So we understand that it was a team that was led by Stanley Goma, and it looks like they are having that new manager bounce.
Yeah.
If you look at that, they dismiss Olarum Waju and they brought in Goma, and we are seeing them getting results. Like the game they won in the NPFL against National United a few days ago. I think with the previous manager, with due respect to him, it's a very good manager, fantastic manager. I think that game could have ended in a draw. But they had that new manager bounce, knew some very important players coming in, and they got the result. So in the CAF Confederations Cup, I think it was a win that Enyimba needed. They needed to win that particular game. There's no way they wouldn't have won.
Okay.
If they failed to win that game, then it would have been a disaster for Enyimba. But of course, they won, and they keep their hopes alive. You look at where they are in the table. It's not very pleasing, not where obviously they would like to be. But when you look at them in the same group with the likes of Zamalek,
same group.
Yeah, you have to.
The defending champions.
Zamalek. So you have to, cut them some slack.
Yeah.
So I think on the day they did the job well. They scored the goals that they needed, and I think when Asmazri, the another Egyptian team comes to town this weekend, I'm very hopeful that they can get the job done. Yeah.
Okay, so just before we round up, who are your favorites to win the CAF Confederation Cups? I mean, Zamalek is still there, but we have other teams playing well. Different groups.
Yeah, I would say, when I look at how Zamalek played when they came to there was a game that, of course, me and some of the journalists that were at the stadium, we did say this is going to be a thrashing for Enyimba.
Yeah.
No, we did say that. And in the first half, it was a thrashing for Enyimba. But somehow, I don't know what happened. Enyimba came back into the game. They scored twice. And they could have even won the game. But when I look at Zamalek, I wouldn't look past them. Because I look at Zamalek, I look at the way they are playing, I look at the composure in how they are playing. I would say it was as if I was watching maybe the likes of Al-Ahly. Or the likes of Mamelodi Sundowns in the CAF Confederations Cup. I know there's RS Beken. But then, of course, RS Beken, the former champion. But then I would still stick my neck with Zamalek.
Okay.
Because I don't know, there's something about them. You look at the composure. They were not intimidated. They stuck to their attacks. They had a game plan. They came, they played. They didn't play as if they were playing away from home. So I think when you look at such a team with such confidence and the caliber of players that they have, you look at the management, I think I wouldn't look past them. But I still think the likes of, like you mentioned, RS Beken, even as Mazuri, they'll also be there. Okay. So I think I would massively give it to the northern teams. You look at the big teams that are supposed to be from the east and the west. Most of them they are in the in the Champions League. So I wouldn't, with due respect to him, but I think if they can make it past the group stage, that would be fantastic.
Yeah,
But
but
then,
the chances are
but
like
the
quite
chances of them
slim.
winning, but
Yeah.
of course, they could be the dark horses if they
Yeah,
can make it past the group
yeah,
stage.
yeah, yeah. There
You
could
know,
be. There
there's
could be
something
very.
about knockout football.
Yeah,
Immediately you are out of the group stage, you are playing knockout football. You know, it's two-legged. You are playing for your
yeah,
life. So
yeah.
it could be that if they can make it past the group
Past
stage,
the group stage, so maybe
they
hope.
yeah
Yeah.
they have a chance. But
Let's
then
see.
I'll
Let's
stick
see.
with Zamalek.
Okay.
I'll stick with
All
Zamalek.
right. Let's move to the CAF Champions League. Yeah, their performance. The Al Ali, the two times. This is their second time. Yes, and probably that sticking out their necks to maybe defend the champion and the title again. What do you think? Which top three teams would you say would make it out from that
You know,
tournament?
the top three to win the Champions
Yeah,
League.
your favorite. Yes.
Well, the two favorites are very obvious,
Would you
right?
say Orlando Pirates are like one of them?
Orlando Pirates, they are in the mix, but they are not were the top three favorites.
Okay.
So you have to look at you have Al Ahly, you have Mamelodi Sundowns, and of course you can't look past the guys are from Tanzania. You have Simba and Young Africans.
Okay.
Yeah, so you look at those two teams. I understand that even Orlando Pirates they held Al Ahly in the Champions League, and I think it was a good game for them. And you look at them; they look very solid. But I think you look at how the young guys are playing, like Young Africans, and also look at how Simba AC are playing. You know, these are clubs that are well organized. They
Mhm.
understand what they are doing, and they are playing to the best of their ability. So I think it's going to be very competitive. It's not just about the top three teams. I think we have like 5 clubs contesting
Okay.
this season.
Yeah.
Because when you look at Al Ahly, I feel like this is a European club.
Plus, Al Hilal is there
Yeah,
too. They have
yeah,
like the highest,
yes,
10 points.
yeah,
The rest are like 8, 8, 8.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you look at Al Ahly, they are like a European team. This, you look at their level, it's as if
Yeah.
it's above the African
Above,
football level.
yeah, kind
But
of,
then
yeah.
kudos to the likes of Mamelodi Sundowns. They've been able to keep up the pace. In the last 2, 3 seasons, they've been able to keep up the pace, and they are doing a good job of raising the standard as well. But you look at also Mamelodi Sundowns, they have been faltering recently, even in the PSL.
Okay.
They've not really been winning matches the way
Yeah,
they've
top
been
notch.
winning. But then in the Champions League, it's a different ball game. So I think I would think it's still going to boil down to these guys, Mamelodi Sundowns, Al Ahly. We have the youngest, and
Al
that's Young
Hilal.
Africans, Al Hilal, and as well
I'm
as
still rooting for Orlando Pirates because playing the same team with the defending champions and they are top of the table. They are currently 8th,
hmm.
and the defending champions are following behind. I'm still looking out for them. I'm rooting for them too. Yeah.
So why are you rooting out for Orlando Pirates? Is it because of the Nigerian
Yeah,
connection?
yeah, yeah, yes,
Oh, really?
yes, yeah.
So it's the
I
Nigerian
mean,
connection.
I'm biased, yeah.
Well, you can be biased. You can be, but of course, like I said, you can't rule them out.
Yeah.
They are doing well this season
Yeah.
as well, so they are in the mix.
Okay.
They are also in the mix. So I wouldn't say it's just 3 teams. So extend the list. Maybe extend it to 5 or 6 teams. All of them will be contending.
Okay, so let's move further into the youth tournament. That is, we're talking about the under 17 and the under 20 AFCON tournament for this year. Of course, we know how very important these tournaments are to building talent and harnessing talent in Africa as a whole. What are like your general hopes for this tournament?
I think I would like CAF to place more emphasis on this tournament because it's as safe. Everything is on AFCON.
AFCON, yeah.
When you move away from AFCON, everything is on the CAF Champions League and the CAF
Yeah.
Confederations Cup. And now they are also giving, they are now seriously considering, or they are doing good works with the CAF Women's Champions League as well.
Yeah.
But of course, there's the OCON, that's the
Yeah.
African Women's Confederations. They are also putting, serious consideration on it. But when you look at the youth football at the youth level, CAF are not really giving the best, in terms of publicity,
Okay,
in
yeah.
terms of organization, in
Organization,
terms of harnessing these talents. They are not really, doing the best that they can do. But you understand it's a youth competition. But at the same time, my expectation is that CAF will take this serious.
Yeah.
The same information that I will have, when it concerns Chan,
Yeah.
CAF needs to take this very serious. They need to be serious about organizing this tournament, ensuring that it has the the required media coverage, and the attention of the world is focused on tournaments like this.
And also resources being
Yeah, the
widely
resources being
channeled.
put there. So that's my expectation. I know we have the talent. The talent is everywhere in Africa.
Yes, yes.
Africa is like then before it was
a breeding ground.
no, before it was South America.
Okay.
Look at Brazil, Argentina, and the rest of the team. Then it
But
moved
now,
to Europe. But now everyone is
Yes,
coming to Africa. They are
Africa.
looking at Africa because of the numbers that we have, and as well as the players that we are churning out day in day out. So I think it is time for CAF to pay more attention to it. That's what I'm expecting. I know that the players will do their best, the teams will do their best, the coaches and every other person will do their best. But the organizers, which is the CAF, they have to put in the best. They have to give us the best of the tournament in terms of media coverage and everything. I think if they do that, I have very high hopes for players that will play in the under-17 African Championship.
Sadly, we lost out of the under-17 tournament in the semi-finals for our Golden Eaglets, and then fortunately, I would say gladly, we have our under-20 boys, that's the Flying Eagles, in the tournament. What are your expectations? What are you looking at for them in that tournament?
Well, I am hoping that they will do well. As a patriotic Nigerian, I'm hoping they will do well. But then you need to look at why we are struggling, in age grade football at this point. I want to take the lines from a former youth coach, Usman Abdallah. He was with the national team, and after we fell, woefully at the FIFA level last year, he came out to say that why we are struggling, why Nigeria is struggling, and I tend to agree with him, is because we lack the organization, we lack the developmental structures in age grade football, and that's why we are struggling. And when you look at it, how do we recruit players for these national teams? We're just going to unstructured academies, or people recommend players, and we pick for the national team. There's no developmental programs for young boys from under 13 like you've seen in Europe. Let me not go far. Like you've seen in South Africa, you've seen in Northern African countries, you've seen all these developmental stages in players. Some they start from under 9, they develop these players. They bring them up. They structure these players. There's a vision. There's kind of, when you go to Morocco, stories from Morocco, there's a way that they want to play football. Even a country like Mauritania, we saw them at last AFCON. It was very surprising. And the story that came out from Mauritania was that they've been planning, they've been doing these developmental stages from under 13. They set up a proper structure and they had patience. They waited. I understand Nigeria is a big country, in terms of football, and in Africa, even at the world stage, people consider Nigeria as a footballing country.
Giant.
So we do not have that patience, to wait and develop talent. But at the same time, it's something that we need to put the structures on, and that's why we are struggling. And I hope we can make it this time, with the under 20. But I think it's something that football authorities, even the government, needs to interfere and ensure that we set the proper standard. And I keep saying this: the Super Eagles of Nigeria needs a technical director. I know we have that person. We have a name. They say the name is not just a technical advisor for the Super Eagles; it's also for the NFF in Austin Ekwavon. He's the one to set the template. When you talk about the technicalities of football, we have someone who is leading this particular department. Is to bring in, a kind of playing philosophy, like FC Barcelona. Everybody knows how Barcelona plays football. So, if they are recruiting a manager, you have to fit into this particular, football philosophy. If you don't, you are not going to, you are not going there. Even if you are a footballer, they look at you. If you don't fit into how they want to play, they are not going to sign you. If they do sign you, you struggle. We've seen big name players, just went to FC Barcelona and other clubs, and they struggle. So it is something that Nigeria lacks. In fact, it is something that so many African countries are lacking. It is something that immediately Senegal got it right. They've become a dominant force in African football. You look at how they are winning all the age grade football. They even they won Chan. Women football, they are winning. They won the AFCON a few years ago. So we need a structure in Nigerian football. And if we do not start developing our players from a very young age, I think it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a very serious problem for our football going forward. We cannot just, even the Super Eagles, we are just, we are just bringing in people.
Anyone.
We are just, if you start scoring
Big name,
goals, you start
Score.
scoring goals for your club side in Europe, they'll bring you
They'll
in.
call you up,
And we are not carefully planning
Yeah.
about the future of our football. So I think generally that's the problem that we have, and I think that's why we are struggling in age grade football. And I just wish that the Flying Eagles all the best, or when they go out to play in the CAF competitions.
Okay, so picking from what you said, I will not say I disagree with you. I do agree with you, but would you say that it's just a problem of development? Because we see Nigerians, we start off something, but our problem also is in maintenance. We do not sustain it because we
Is
have
it
players.
Nigeria as a whole?
Nigeria as a whole, I'm talking about football. We're talking football now. So we saw players, for example, Victor Osimhen's counterpart. He was already playing from the under 17, under 20, and all of that. We are the players that were playing with him at that time. Where are they now? What happened? People that were doing it at that time. So I will not say that it's just purely a developmental problem alone. There's also that problem of sustenance.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, 100%. You are correct. When you start something, you have to sustain it.
Yeah.
That's the reality of this life. What CenterKick is doing, if they cannot sustain this, if they are not consistent with this, then at the end of the day, it was an effort in future. It goes nowhere.
Yeah.
So I think yes, of course, I agree with you. We need to have that sustainability. When you look at the set of Victor Osimhen and Samuel Chukwueze, Kelechi Iheanacho falls, into that category. In age grade football, in any developmental stage of football, even in football academies, you can have 30 players, in the academy. All of them, they have a very bright future. But at the end of the day, it's going to be probably 1, 2, or 3 that is going to, break into the top.
Of course, it's a part of the individual,
performance.
So,
So when you look at that, sustainability, of course, is important. But at the same time, I think we need to start from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That's where we are not getting it properly. Because Nigeria, I have to say this, we were dominating at some point because we were playing players that were older than the competition.
Yeah.
And we dominated.
Yeah.
You look at how we've been winning most of these tournaments. Could recall when the likes of Macaulay Crisantos were playing age grade football. Those were big boys, playing age grade football. And I wouldn't want to cause any issue by saying this, but then that was how we dominated. But at the same time, we have the talent, we have everything to start from the very grassroots and develop this talent, and to ensure that when FIFA brings age detection, things that can detect how old are you, if you are far older than the competition that you want to play in. That's where we are having issues, because they are screening a lot of the players that are supposed to play for us. They are screening them out. So we need to go back to, we like saying drawing board. Of course, we need to go back to drawing board. Football authorities, we need to go back to drawing board. That's from the NFF.
Yeah.
They need to go back and start developing these talents from, when they are starting. When you are seeing them
young,
you catch them young, and we will get it right. I think we need patience. And for us Nigerians, we are not patient. We are not patient. If our team goes to a tournament and they can't get past the group stage, we call for the head of the coach.
But just on a lighter note, will you say Ghana is having patience with the way the chaos or the unsettlement they've had in their football life at this moment?
Who is not enjoying what's happening in Ghana? except you're a Ghanaian.
Okay.
Except you're a Ghanaian.
So will you call that patience?
No, they don't have patience, and I don't think
patience.
I don't think they are putting things right.
Okay.
I think they are way behind Nigeria in terms of development.
But you heard, I don't know if you were in the media palace, the Ghana coach that came to represent them for Chan did say that at this point in their life, they are going through that restructuring phase, they're putting a lot of things in place, and it's costing them this. What? So would you say he was not telling the truth?
Yeah, no. I think they are trying to do it. Yeah. When you are not qualifying for major tournaments, and you have big players, big name players playing in European leagues, it's a problem. So it has happened to them, and they came for AFCON last AFCON in Ivory Coast, and they couldn't get past the group stage. So it's a problem. Yeah. Now they've not even qualified for the next AFCON. They have not qualified for CHAN.
Too, yeah.
You know, they are having a lot of things, you know, going wrong for them. So it's now time for them to hit that reset button. You know, go back, go. They need to humble themselves.
Okay.
You know, go down
Jesus.
and
Yeah.
start all over again. So I think Ghana, they need to hit that reset button.
Okay.
On a very strong, they need to hit that reset button. You know, and start all over again. It's going. They'll get it right. They are a great nation.
Sometime.
Yeah, but
in the future.
Yeah, but
we must have won like 3 trophies before then.
Yeah, of course. I think we will win like 5.
Okay.
5.
You have
and we'll keep going to Ghana. Do they have a stadium? Okay. Oh, sorry. They will come here and they will play their home matches.
Okay, no problem. Let's proceed into the women football. Yes, we have WAFCON and the Women's Champions League coming in the course of the year too. But first, on a scale of 1 to 10, will you see through a women's match? Let's say the Super Falcons are playing in Uyo. It's not their venue, but let's just say, would you put aside your activities for the day to go sit down watch them?
Why not? Why not? Let me make a confession. I know football at that level is way higher than, you know, what we are seeing here in Africa. But throughout I think the last Women's World Cup in Australia, I followed that tournament, you know, to the very end.
Okay.
And
yeah,
and I would say I'm an Arsenal fan, of course, and I work for, you know, one of the outlets that represents Arsenal, and I have a responsibility to sit through games, not just the male team, but also the female team. So I endure the stress of watching the female football, and
you're calling it endurance.
Yeah.
Same love, passion.
I'm beginning to, you know.
Oh, it's coming up.
Yeah, I'm beginning to align my interest, because you look at the pace of the game and how you're enjoying the male game, the men's football. It's very different from it's very different from female football. So if I can do that at that level, I can do it for women's football. Okay. I've been at the stadium to watch Ebom Angels play. Aww. So at that level, in the league level, I've endured that. Okay. So I would say the Super Falcons.
Let's appreciate him for the women. Please appreciate him. He's supporting us.
Yeah, the Super Falcons, of course. If they come here, I'll give them full coverage. Okay. I'll give them everything, and I'll stay throughout the game. In fact, I'll follow them around. So I would do that. Of course, I support women football. I want to see it grow. And when you look at some players playing in the women's game, you'll be amazed. Yeah. You realize that there's lots of talent.
Yeah, quite talented.
And it's something that we need to encourage.
All right. So you're going already ahead into the questions I was supposed to ask you ahead. But let me just still ask, because you didn't really throw light on it. Speaking of, before we head into Africa as a continent, let's talk about the women football in Nigeria.
Well, I would say that's the most organized football in Nigeria. Okay. That's the Nigerian Women's Football League. You look at what...
Most organized than the NPFL?
Yes, of course.
Okay, please enlighten me.
Well organized than the NPFL. Look at what Aisha Falade is doing with the women's football. They have a structure. Yeah. You know when the league is going to start. You know when it's going to end. You know when they are going on a break. Like, everything is done professionally.
But the same happens in the NPFL.
Well, NPFL are just learning from the women's game. Okay. They are just learning. I think it's in the last 2 seasons that we are beginning to see the NPFL since the dismissal of the league management organization or company, you know, that let me not go there. But then since we had the new set of people managing football in the NPFL, that's when we've seen the changes that we are seeing now. You know that when the league ends, that is going to start, or you know that during the season that we are not going to abruptly end the league and crown the the league leaders champions. So they are just coming up. But the NWFL they've been very consistent in the last 5 to 6 years that I followed the league. They've been very consistent. You know exactly when the league is going to start. You know when the league is going to end. You understand the formats, that is going to be a Super 4. You understand, you know, the top dogs, you know, the teams that are going to be up there competing. And, you know, everything works well in the NWFL. So I would say I would say they are the standard in terms of organization in Nigerian leagues. So everyone should look up to them. You look at how they carry themselves in the media. You look at their press release, everything when everything happens.
Very demure.
So you have it. So I would say,
proud of our women.
They are leading in terms of league organization in Nigeria, and I would hope, and I think the NPFL is following suit,
Yeah,
and
coming up.
we are seeing the the triple effects dropping down even to the
No,
NNL.
no, no, yes.
The
And
NNL will tell you that they are going to start the league on January 1st, and they will postpone it to January 12th, and they
okay,
will postpone it to
probably
February,
February
and they will
13th.
take it to May.
Yeah,
But now since they say they are going
yeah,
to start the league last year,
they did.
the league
Yeah,
actually started, and you understand now the league will run from this time to this time, and you have the playoff. It's very standard now.
yeah,
Everybody is now copying that particular model, and I think it's a good thing. And I would also want to give kudos to the NFF, because they are the football managing body in the country.
yeah,
If they say let this be this, and
yeah.
of course this is this. So I think the women's game is great. The
Yeah, and of
organization,
course we can see how their performance is in the continents too,
of
like Edo
course,
Queens.
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
So it goes to show you how they've grown.
yeah,
People were thinking of maybe it's going to Rivers Queens or Rivers
yeah,
Angels.
yeah.
That's our Pelican Queens. But you look at Edo Queens. I think at some point they will report that they are well funded than even Bendel Insurance.
Okay.
So it shows it shows you
Chai.
how serious the Edo State government have taken this women's team. Look at the jerseys that they are
Yeah,
wearing. Look at the merchandise, everything that they
yeah,
have.
yeah.
Look at the media sector,
Their media
everything.
space
You
very
know,
on
so
point.
that's a club that when you look at it, it should be a model. For other clubs in the women's football. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, women's football they are doing great. But I think Edo Queens they did what they did last season,
Yeah,
and it was very encouraging
yeah.
that a Nigerian
Very, very.
team
Yes, could go
can
that
go all
far.
the way.
Yeah.
So I think it bodes well for Nigerian football, and I know that Rivers Angels they will want to do same.
Yeah.
They will want to probably surpass
Yeah.
what the Edo Queens have done last season. So I think it's encouraging. It's encouraging, and when you have things put in place and players understand, they know how much they are earning, they know what and also these players knows that if you play well in the NWFL, that you
Yeah.
play for the national team.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, clear pathway.
And in the women football is actually very, I feel it's like very open for call ups to the national team. Like you
Mm.
could just see different teams women being called from even in the national
I
in
think
the
it's recently that we
clubs
are.
playing in the nation,
I
yes.
think it's recently that we are having the women's team, national team, being dominated by players that are playing outside Nigeria. Before now,
Okay. It should be
it was
okay.
players playing in the local league, and they were doing they
They're
were
doing
doing great.
amazing, yeah.
It was just some few players. Look at the likes of
Keepers,
Pepe Kwacha.
Ashley.
Then
Okay.
no, I'm not talking about the
Okay,
current
okay, okay,
squad.
okay.
Pepe Kwacha. I think Messi Akid at some point went out, and those were those were some of the big name players that played outside
Yeah, that's
Nigeria. And
correct.
mostly, I think they played in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Some played in Japan and in Sweden. But now you're having so many players, playing in the playing in the top flight league,
Yeah.
and also you are having if the women's team is not that organized, you wouldn't see the glamour of maybe some players that were born outside Nigeria,
Yeah.
coming
Wanting
into
to,
play,
yeah.
play for Nigeria. You look
They
at
not even, they're not begging them.
they
They
are not
want to,
they
yeah,
want to
yeah, they
belong,
want
and,
to,
and when they come in,
yeah,
they try to blend in. They want to
yeah,
be Nigerian. Look
yeah,
at Michelle Aloshi.
yeah.
She's trying to be Nigerian through and
And
through.
also the two
Ashley
siblings, the
Plumtree.
siblings,
Uh, uh,
Nicole Payne,
yeah.
yeah, and the sister.
So you look at these guys. You look at what the women's football is very encouraging. Let's not overflog it, but then
Okay.
we have to give it to them.
All
And
right. Would you say that at the continent now, would you say that the needed attention is being given to the women's football?
well, I think yes, of course. And when you look at the facilities that are there in Morocco, where the most preferred country now for CAF to host women's football, when you look at the facilities there, you understand that okay, this is serious business.
Okay.
So you look at the Laza Ocon, you realize that they are taking this serious. So I would say yes, they are beginning to get the attention. They are beginning to understand that women's football it's also very
Yeah.
important. It may not bring the kind of money that you are looking at in the men's game.
It may. It could. It
No,
would in the nearest future.
I wouldn't think so. I
Okay.
don't think so. But you look at that, you can. It's also marketable.
Yes. It is.
So I think CAF they are
You
keen
also want
into
to
it.
see a beautiful girl play. I don't
I
understand,
don't
please.
understand. No.
I
Uh,
beg. Yeah.
Is that why you are watching my football? Because of fine guys?
I
Could be.
mean, it's like one of people. I don't want to go to sit on a game and then I'm not seeing handsome boys play.
Oh,
Please,
really?
it's going to be like so ill.
No.
All right, so let's make progress. Let's talk about the Chan coming up February.
Yeah.
Is it February?
Yeah, February 1st.
Yeah, February 1st. All through February.
Yeah, to February 28th.
28th, yeah. So what are your general or overall impressions about the qualification rounds of the Chan 2025?
I think I think it was better.
Okay.
It was better than the previous ones, and we've seen surprises. The kind of countries that have qualified for this particular tournament. You see, when countries like Central African Republic, make it to the tournament proper, it's important in the development of African football. And also, when you look at the Super Eagles of Nigeria, also qualify. It makes it a bit interesting because I think this tournament also needs that attention. It needs the countries that can bring the attention. So when you have a country like Nigeria in this particular tournament, it lifts the quality of the tournament.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not may not be the quality of the players that we have, but then the qualities of Nigerians.
Yeah.
Qualities of people like you and I.
Yeah.
Qualities of
the name alone, Nigeria.
The name alone.
It's a big thing.
When someone
Chan,
when someone says Nigeria is coming for a particular tournament,
it's like
a big
deal.
deal.
It's a privilege.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for African football.
Because we bring the media attention, all of those things.
We bring everything to the table. When Nigeria comes to the party, it's a different ball game entirely. Everybody stands still. Even the outside wall, they'll have to take. Oh, there's Nigeria there, so it must be important.
Yes.
So I think Nigeria qualifying for this one, it's also very good for African football and for the competition. And also, they didn't just qualify; they beat Ghana. So over the 2 legs, they beat Ghana. It's always fun when we get one over Ghana. To continue.
And South Africa, of course.
Yeah, of course, South Africa. Don't worry, we'll come for them when the time comes. It's a good thing. And I'm happy that Nigeria is in this tournament. If Nigeria didn't qualify for this tournament, I'm not sure that my interest would have been really, in this particular tournament.
We wouldn't even be talking about, it wouldn't even be on our media space because we're not going there.
Wouldn't. And now because Nigeria, people were not sure that Nigeria will qualify. And a lot of people miss out on media accreditation for this tournament, including myself, of course. But I would like to make the trip. It's an opportunity to make the trip. I would like to, if possible, if I can sort out everything that I need to sort out. And of course, I want to know where Nigeria will, mostly station if it's going to be in Kenya or Tanzania or Uganda. So that will also help in shaping the decisions that you are taking. But we also look at the exchanges, foreign exchanges from whichever country that's here. No, we are not seeing this.
We're not seeing
this. We are doing things in shillings.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good one qualification wise. We have some new entrants into the tournament, and of course you have the big boys, defending champions. You have the likes of Senegal. You have Morocco. Of course, they will come in real hot.
Yeah, real hot.
You have every other big teams that are coming into this particular tournament. So I think it's a good. It was a good qualification stage for Chan and for African football.
All right, so give me your top 3 teams. For this Chan. I mean, Senegal are there. They will likely defend considering their state of performance currently. But let me have your top 3 teams that you think may actually contend for this title. Please, before you do, just help me mention Nigeria. I don't know you want to put them, but I mean
top 3 teams.
Yeah.
Let me give you a very surprise. My number 1 pick.
Okay.
Tanzania.
Okay.
Because they are one of the host countries.
Yeah, of course.
And of course they have very good teams.
Okay.
In the Tanzanian league. So I would go with Tanzania 1.
Okay.
And I would go with Morocco. Obviously, you have to go with Morocco. And also I will go with defending champions Senegal. Nigeria will come distant for me.
Okay. Please. I mean, we could just...
We are in the mix.
Okay, we are in the mix.
Because we have a very good squad.
Yeah.
You look at the players that we have up front defensively, even in the middle of the park. We have the likes of Isaac Xavier turning things around, doing magic.
Yeah.
So of course, and you have very competent coaches in Daniel Agumodede and Fidelis Lechuku, and they'll be sandwiched by this new coach.
Let's not talk about him. Let's keep him for the later part.
Okay.
Of course, and also the rumor flying around. I know that Daniel Agumodede was asked in one of his recent interviews where a show he went for. He spoke about Sadiq Ismail. We saw rumors of him leaving for a team.
Yeah.
Of course, which would have disqualified him from playing in the tournament. But he reassured us, and we're hoping it's true that, of course, he's the coach of Remo Stars, right? And that's like his team player. So I think I would sit with that statement from him.
No, I think it's going to be a blow for Nigeria not to have Ismail Sadiq in this particular tournament. Is one of the very good players in the NPFL.
Yeah.
You look at the level of consistency he has with the Remo Stars, and when you look at Remo Stars always competing at the top end of the tournament, you could understand why lots of Remo Stars players are there. And of course, the manager of Remo Stars, that's Daniela Ogumodede, it's also there. So I think it will be a big blow for Nigeria. But at the same time, when you look at the Nigerian league, it's funny. The kind of talent that we have in Nigerian football. So when you look deep, look down, go through different teams, you could likely see players that are better than Ismail Sadiq, right? But then he has been there. He has been around the national team. That's the men Super Eagles, and he's one of the leaders in this Chan team, and we need him. And hopefully, whatever transfer dealings that he's currently undergoing, will not stop him from
stall it.
We can stall it till
after the tournament.
Probably after the tournament they've already approved the squad. Then they can make the announcement for his departure or whatever. But then I hope he will be there with the Chan Eagles, and
he's a very necessary player. I would say.
Yeah, and it's a good advertisement for him and as well as other players that are playing the tournament.
All right, so let's head over to the crown of our conversation for the CAF calendar year 2025, the AFCON tournament. Yeah,
that particular...
But before you go into that, tell us briefly about your last experience from the last tournament. Of course, you were there.
Well, I would say, I was in Cameroon for the 2021 AFCON. It was a great experience, but I think... Ivory Coast was...
The last edition was top notch.
I think that should be the best
They took
ever.
it like 10 times. Yeah,
that should be the best ever AFCON that we've ever hosted in Africa. So you have to give it to CAF. I would tell you, the organization was top notch, up there with the very best. The stadiums, I went. I thought we have a world-class stadium in Gospel International Stadium.
We are just learning.
But when I went to AFCON, came back, I realized that, come on,
we are
learning this. There's a lot of things that we need to get right with the Nest of Champions. So the road network, the transportation, the way people related with everybody, the host nation, the citizens, they were amazing. Despite the language barrier, they always try to help because it's mostly everyone speaks French.
Yeah.
So you are looking at a country that everybody they are trying to ensure that they carry along. They were very helpful, and that experience was, I have to tell you, it's the best experience that I've had. Covering African football, and I hope Morocco have taken a leaf from them. Because I know Morocco is, they are well positioned than Ivory Coast. They are well resourced than Ivory Coast. So I'm hoping that they will do better.
And I trust CAF not to go below expectations.
Well, when you look at who is at the helm of affairs with CAF, Mostepe is one man that likes to maintain standard. He has seen this standard all through his adult life. So I think you want to do better.
Yeah,
The whole world will be watching Africa.
watching.
You
Of
know,
course,
in
the
December.
attention we had last
Yeah,
last
yeah,
season.
yeah. Even
Yeah.
I think we had a better tournament than the European Championship in
Yeah,
Germany.
of course,
So
everybody.
everyone was
Yeah,
talking about
the
the
AFCON.
AFCON. You know, when people were looking at the Euros 2024, they were looking at AFCON. Said,
Yeah.
come on, if Africa can produce this, then of
Yeah.
course the Europeans should produce better. But then it was sandwiched with the beautiful women that we had in that particular tournament.
Yeah.
I cannot fail to mention that.
Those pictures
I
flying.
cannot
Yeah.
I cannot fail to mention it.
Ivory
So,
Coast women. Time.
it wasn't only Ivory Coast Ivorian women.
But
You
they
look at
changed.
no. Let me tell you the ones that
Of course, you were
captured
there. I wasn't there.
captured the attention of everyone. Ivorian women were great, very
Yeah.
beautiful, and entertaining. But the Cape Verde women
Oh.
that traveled all the way from
Oh,
Cape Verde to the
yeah.
tournament, they were the magic.
Oh.
So and we'll miss Cape Verde in 2025,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
But then it was an amazing experience, an experience that I would want to have over and over and over again. And I would say, having been to Abidjan, I've adopted that country as my second African country because it was
A
excellent.
beautiful place, yeah.
Excellent.
All right, let's go into the teams competing. I wouldn't want us to draw much on it, but considering the underdogs that some teams that have returned to the tournament, the likes of Chad, yes, they just returned, and few other countries that just returned. Would you say you have like teams that you would consider as underdogs?
There are no underdogs in African football.
Okay.
They are no longer underdogs. You have every team. I did mention, I made reference to Mauritania in last AFCON. They didn't just come unprepared. They're a very small nation. But the stories, CAF president narrated this story during one of the media conference with the CAF president. He was addressing the media and he told us the story of Mauritania when they started. I think they started about 10 years before the tournament. I think I did mention already. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was around 2013 since they started that development.
Okay.
They are not a football country.
Okay.
So they started putting things in place. They had a federation's president that understood what it means to develop football, and they did that. They started developing football, and when they qualified for the AFCON in Ivory Coast, it didn't take them by surprise. They were well prepared, and you saw how well they did in that tournament. So, considering that, you look at every other country, you would say if a country like Ghana were in this tournament, I would put them under the underdogs category.
Okay.
But then
Jesus.
there's no Ghana, so
Wow. Okay.
I hope my Ghanaian friends are not going to see this, but if
They
you
have
see,
to see this.
you have to see this.
I would personally tag them on that.
It's the Jollof banter, so you guys can understand that. So I think we do not have underdogs in African football any longer. There are no underdogs because everything coming here, they may not come to win the tournament, but they are coming to show the whole world that we are in football.
Yeah.
We mean business in football. So everything that qualified for this tournament, they qualified on merit.
Yeah,
so you cannot say there are underdogs. I wouldn't want to, I'm not using that.
And even if Morocco played, they would have still qualified. So
yeah, of course, Morocco would have qualified.
Of course.
They would have, let's assume that they would have qualified. But then there are no underdogs. Every team that will play in that tournament, that have qualified for that tournament, they've qualified on merit. So I want to see them do well, and I hope every team competes as well as they did in 2024.
Okay, let's look at the teams with the most wins, with the most trophies. Egypt, of course, 7 times. I do not know what is particularly wrong with their team. Currently, they've not been informed. But Egypt with 7 trophies, we have Cameroon with 5, and of course, Nigeria sharing with Cote d'Ivoire. Which team? Let's say that the winner is going to come from these 4 teams. Which team do you think is going to win this time?
Have you just excluded Senegal?
Senegal, they are 2-time winners.
Well,
I'm talking about like the most. Those are like the top 4 teams with the most wins.
Okay. If we are giving it to a country that I think this is not me being patriotic.
Yeah, of
I
course.
think it's going to be Nigeria.
Definitely.
Why I would say Nigeria is because of what they did at the last tournament. You know,
Yeah.
they went all the way to the finals where no one gave them the chance. And when you look at the quality of players that they have, if they could come together like
They
Jose
have.
Pesero did,
Yeah.
give them a clear, because one thing I understand about football is when a coach gives the players an instruction, clear
Yeah.
instruction,
Yeah.
this is how I want to play, all of them, they will
And
buy
they stick
into
to
it.
it. Yeah.
So that's what Jose Pesero brought into the table. We thought Nigeria
It was
played a
not going to
boring game,
war.
but
Yeah.
then one thing about football is do not concede. If you stop conceding, there's every
Yeah.
chance when you have players like Victor
Yeah.
Osimhen
Of course.
and the rest of the attackers that we have,
Yeah.
Ademola
Ademola
Lookman,
Lukman. Of course,
you
our CAF.
always
Yeah.
you always find a way to score a goal. So first thing is shut down the defense, ensure that you do not concede
And
goals.
then we have a good shortstopper too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we do. So I think we have a template already. So all what we need to do is to,
Develop. Yeah.
develop something from that template. Let's be a bit flexible in that template, because one of the things that cost Nigeria the title was
Yeah. We were
Jose
not.
Pedro not
Yeah.
being flexible enough.
Flexible.
The signs were there in the semi-finals against South Africa. It was very obvious that we shouldn't have won that game,
Yeah. But we
because the
did.
coach didn't see what an ordinary fan saw,
Yeah.
to make the required changes. But then, if we can, sort out those things and, continue scoring goals and not conceding like we did in 2024, I think we will have a chance. But of the four teams, I would say Nigeria is my pick. But after Nigeria, I will go with the host nation.
Okay, Morocco,
Yeah,
right?
I'll go with the host nation, Morocco. I think Ivory Coast will be the least of all, because I think it was a miracle that they won the
Yeah,
last
it
tournament.
was a
It was
miracle
a
indeed.
miracle. So I wouldn't put them in the category of those that will win this particular edition of the African Cup of Nations. So I would say Nigeria, Morocco, Egypt, and of course we have to bring forward Senegal,
Okay,
because they are
yeah,
forced to
yeah,
reckon with.
yeah. All right, so let's wrap that up. Let's head into the our own, the NPFL. Let's have your review of the first half of the season. Of course, we have our top four teams: Remo Stars sitting on top, followed by Rivers United, and then Shooting Stars. Lastly, by Rangers International. The top
Okay.
four.
What is saying on the table?
They just moved to the seventh position. Yes.
With
Below Ikorodu City.
oh, they've played all their standing games,
No,
right?
just one. They played just one.
Okay,
outstanding.
so
Yeah.
we have to put them there. So I would say it's an improvement on last season. Last season was good as well.
Yeah.
So this season it's a huge improvement, for the teams that are playing for the NPFL. You look at that, the consistency of teams. Look at
Yeah.
that, the likes of Shooting Stars.
Yeah.
They're going like 5 matches, winning all
Yeah,
their
the whole of
games.
December last year.
Yeah. So coaches like Benga Gumbote looking like he's rebranding his kind of football. He's one of the old guards in Nigerian football, but it looks as if he has been able to rebrand his tactics. Football is about development.
Yeah.
When you are a coach and you are not developing yourself,
You're
you
not
think
progressive,
yeah,
yeah.
the players are going to develop themselves. You are going to get stuck in the middle, like what's happening to Jose Mourinho. I hope he can come out of it.
Oh, I
So
wish you well, sir.
so when you are a coach, you need to develop. So I think some coaches have taken a step further in their careers. You look at Daniel Ogumodede. He's been there for some years now, and last season I thought Remo Stars were going to win the title. For whatever reasons, Rangers won the title, which you have to give it to them, the consistency and
Yeah.
on all the on
Because
field and off.
as a last season, the first half they were not. They
Yeah, they were not there.
They were not there.
So they came in. They were just
They were just
about
around.
there.
Yeah.
They were not. People didn't see them as title contenders, but then they came in and they had that good run and they won the title. So this season, I think we are seeing teams being more consistent, winning matches on the road, because it's very important. It puts our league in good light that when you travel away from home, that you can get points, you can win
And
matches.
Rangers is the team with the most wins.
Yeah,
Sorry.
on the road.
Yeah.
So you look at that, it's an improvement.
Sorry,
from,
not most win, most clean sheets.
Yeah.
Yes, away.
So you look at that, it's an improvement from last season, and I hope to see teams continue to improve. And my wish is I want to see more. I want to see more of privately owned clubs, making it in the NPFL.
Yeah.
And I sincerely hope that what happened to Sporting Lagos last season will not happen to Ikorodu City FC. You know, Sporting Lagos at the point I think they were second on the log last season.
It was just the first week.
Yeah. So no, it wasn't the first week. It wasn't only the first week.
Okay.
I think they were just there and about, but at some point, you know, they fell off badly, and it was because of how gracious they were in losing matches that Akwa United escaped relegation.
Yes.
So I would hope that Ikorodu City
keeps the form.
You know, they can keep the momentum.
Akwa United out of the tournament.
No, I wouldn't say kick Akwa United out, but I want to see, when you look at, do you understand? Do you know what's even more amazing? That I keep criticizing Nigerian clubs for recycling coaches. They are not exploring. But look at what Rangers City, Remo Stars did when they came up. They came up with Daniel, and they've been consistent with him. He wasn't a household name in Nigerian football. No one knew him, but he came with Remo Stars. Look at Paul Ofo came with Sporting Lagos. And then, so, these are Gen Z coaches that you know, they came and they are storming the league. And you look at what Nuruddin is doing with the Ikorodu City. You'll be shocked that Nuruddin is a fresh graduate from National Institute of Sports. It's not as if he's been around the block for a very long time. But Ikorodu City saw a coach with potential, and they took the chance on him, and he has delivered for them. He's delivering for them. So I would hope, my sincere prayers for NPFL this season is that Ikorodu City make it through. Yeah, they can sustain their status and play in the league.
Even if they're not like in the top 10, but at least they should still be in the league.
I wouldn't expect them to be in the top 10, but then I would. What I'm saying is, I want them to maintain their title, their status, not go down to the NNL. And I'm also praying earnestly that the NNL favors some private clubs.
Sporting Lagos, of course, is coming back. I know, I can say. I can bet this shirt.
Yeah, Sporting Lagos. You want to bet the Senator?
This shirt, yeah, I can bet this shirt.
Yeah. So the likes of Sporting Lagos and I wanted to say the likes of Van Dressa FC, but then
they are no more.
They are nowhere to be found anymore.
It's sudden demise
of BFC. So I want to see more of the private clubs,
because they bring more publicity,
energy and stuff. They are doing things differently, and you can see the effect on the league. People are now rating the NPFL. People are now looking for more pictures of the NPFL. If you travel for an away game, or if you travel for any game, there are people that constantly ask you, sometimes not even people in Nigeria, were you at this particular game, they need pictures, stuff like that. So I think we need that need that development, and that
they need to come. More of them.
We need more of them to come.
Because I remember the last match that I watched, a friend of mine came around and he did mention that his interest for Nigerian football, like the Nations League, was reawakened by Sporting Lagos.
Yeah, of course.
He just started watching it because of
Sporting
Lagos.
Now
he has gone down to watching the NNL because Sporting Lagos is there.
Yeah.
And you can see what they're showing out in their media sphere. Very impressive.
Look at the JC.
Yeah.
Look at the JC.
Even their content.
Yeah, maybe Sporting.
Their stats.
CenterKick should do a giveaway with the Sporting Lagos JC.
They're giving it away to me. It's to me. And then, of course, to our faithful fans.
Of course. They are the priority.
Yes, of course.
We are looking at them. Without them, you won't be here.
I won't be. Please, though. I am very loyal. Yeah.
I think it's a good development. Now, what I want to see is, let's bring in more coaches. Let's bring in new players. And another thing with the private clubs is that they are coming in with new set of players from the NNL, because I think government-owned clubs, they have the financial muscle to recycle the old guards. They keep signing players that were in the league, players that they know they've played in the league. But then with the private clubs, they are coming in with new players, and they are coming in with new coaches. So one thing I would like to see the NPFL do is for them to bring in different coaches, try new coaches. There are different set of graduates from the NIS, different coaches with so much experience. They have fresh ideas. So I would like to see these clubs, take a chance on them, so that we can develop our league. Say, I've heard the name Benga Gumbote for so many years. I've heard the name.
I was born, of course.
Yeah, I've heard the name Abdul Maikaba for so many years. I've heard I've heard this name. Ofinid is just coming in. I've heard the name. There's this
London Bottle.
Ladan Boso has been for a very long time. I've heard Usman
Mokachi?
Abdallah. No, Daniel Mokachi is just coming
okay,
in. Just coming in. It's not even a coach yet.
Okay.
I think it's not functioning as a coach yet.
Well,
He's
the
yeah,
technical
yeah, as a
advisor.
technical advisor.
Yeah.
So I think we need to see more of these coaches
Yeah.
and players coming into league, and I think it's going to help us develop the league
And not
and
just
bring in new
see them
talents.
coming. The clubs need to be patient with them
Of
because
course,
people develop over time.
yeah, of course,
And you have to stay at a thing consistently for a while before you can really get the demanded results from it.
Of course. Football at every level needs patience, needs time. Football is not a rocket science.
Yeah.
It's something that takes time. So if you give them the opportunity, I think they will do well, and I hope that they would. And I didn't want to mention Akwa United, but I think
You have to mention.
yeah, I didn't want to mention Akwa United, but I think what I was hoping, I was earnestly hoping and praying that Akwa United would take a different direction, bring in a
But we are
fresh
back
coach,
at where we are.
and try something new. But understand why they've gone for who they've gone, because they need the experience at this point, and
At
they
least
want to
for this
ensure,
season.
yeah,
to help
they,
them
yeah,
this
they want to
second half.
ensure that they
Yeah.
escape,
Yeah.
they beat the job.
I do get.
Good luck to them, but I don't think
I
they
wish
will.
them well. All right, so you just spoke about Akwa United. Of course, they are in the relegation zone. We're having the likes of Plateau United, Nasarawa United, and another team there.
Plateau United,
Lobby
Lobby
Stars,
Stars,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, so you did mention you're just talking about Akwa United. Of course, they're in the relegation zone that we also have to talk about. Together with Plateau United, Lobby Stars, and Nasarawa United. What are your hopes for them? Any hope? And of course, you went ahead to talk about Akwa United,
Which I didn't want to.
Yeah, of course, you didn't want to. They are in the relegation waters. They are languishing. They're like deep down. Very pathetic. Of course, assisted. Should I say assisted? Is assisted the word? I mean, followed by or
don't mock the dead. They are already down, so I don't think you need to mock them. Just leave them.
Okay, so they are graced with the presence of Lobby Stars,
Yeah.
Nasarawa United, and Plateau United. Which of these teams do you think would make it through these waters? Can swim past these waters?
I think all of them they have a chance. All of them they have a chance. It's just the first half of the season. You have to look at the points gap between clubs in the relegation, places, and those, at the top 10. You have to look at the points gap
from 15 at least
from 15. So
15.
yeah, so all of them they can climb out. It's about putting some results together. If any of them gets the consistency that they need, maybe over like 5-6 matches, they'll find themselves around that
That's
12,
zone,
18, yeah. So it's going to be. I think all of them they stand a chance, but I don't know.
They're just 2 points from permanent relegation. Yeah.
So I think for Akwa United, all they need is they need to bring in quality players.
Yes, quality
and
players.
And I don't know if they can do that in the middle of the season. How many players?
The window is open.
Yeah, I know the window is officially open, but how many players can they actually sign in the middle of the season? So I think it's going to be an Herculean task, but with an experienced manager, 2-time Premier League winner, like
With the team,
Kennedy, I think they have a chance. But for me, I wouldn't fancy them to make it past the job this season. They've been shambolic in the last 2 years, and this is the third year that they are still struggling to get past the relegation water. So I think something needs to be done. Something fundamentally needs to change in the team for them to make that progress that they are actually looking for. But for now, I think Akwa United are in a very serious problem, and I just pray that God will help them.
Okay, so we saw Anas Yusuf, of course, our highest goal top scorer for this season with 11 goals. He just had his 11th goal against Enyimba. Of course, it was not enough to help the team escape that loss, but we saw
no thanks to Brown.
That goal was like a tipping. Then when they say Jara, I saw, but it was beautiful by the way. So him leading with 11 goals, and then of course our legend, the NPFL legend Rabiu Ali, with 7 goals. 8 goals, followed by 2 other players, one from Akanenying Warriors, Emmanuel. Yeah, so I would you say that considering our pace in this league that we have somebody that might probably top him at the end of the season?
Well, I think so. I think so. It's about finding the right form. You know, form is when we talked about form and confidence in football. I like taking this quote from former Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger. It says, when you are building the form, you are going through the stairs. But when you are coming down of it, when you are coming of it, your form, you take the elevator. So you just slide. So I just hope that he can maintain the form throughout the
Yeah.
season. If he does, then I'm not seeing any player catching up with
Yeah.
him, because 11 goals in before the half of the season. It's very impressive.
It's
It's
impressive
very
this
impressive.
time,
So,
yeah.
but I think other players are also stepping up. You mentioned the likes of I wouldn't. I don't think. I don't think
Rabia
Rabiot is
may be
going
able
to
to
score
make it.
20 goals.
Okay.
I don't think he will. But it looks every day young. It
Yeah,
looks like
promising.
it looks like he's 25, and
Yeah.
he's still scoring goals. And another thing that will count against him is that he's not a striker.
He's not a striker.
He's a midfielder, scoring goals in the rate like the likes of Frank Lampard scored their goals. So I think Anas Yusuf is well positioned to go all the way. But at the same time, you look at the team that is playing for.
Yeah, that's
Look
already
at the team that is
United.
playing for. Despite how poor they are, they is
This
scoring
still,
these
yeah.
goals. But if
At least it could still be a thing of consolation for the team. At least
now,
they have
why would it be a thing of consolation for the team?
they are relegated and
They
they
are,
have the highest goal scorer.
there's no consolation
Yeah.
there. It's just good PR for the
That's
player.
individual,
Yeah,
yeah,
good PR for
yeah.
the player, because he's going to move on to another club, maybe in Nigeria or outside. And I think if he ends up as a highest goal scorer, he's not going to stay in Nigeria. That's
Yeah.
obviously what happens to every top goal
So
scorer in Nigeria
yeah.
in the NPFL. So I wouldn't see any player that is going to come close to him. But at the same time, don't rule it out. We have some very good players. And of course, if he scores 11 goals in just half the season, Brian Day is just coming in, and he has gotten 2 goals in 2 matches. So you never can tell.
Yeah, if he's going to score every match.
If he's going to score every match, or if he's going to score like 3 hat
19
tricks,
more games.
3 hat tricks
Yeah,
in just
in
in
5
3 or
games.
5 matches, and he will make up the number. So
Okay.
I think we'll see
It's still
players.
open,
We'll
right?
see players that will come up with the goods, but at the same time, Anas Yusuf is spot
Leading,
on to
yeah.
win this particular title race.
All right. So lastly, any team you think we should look out for in the next half of the season, aside from Shooting Stars, of course.
I think we should look out for Yimba International.
Okay.
They are one of the teams. You can never rule them out. You can never rule Yimba out.
They may be down, but
Yeah,
not
they
out.
may be down. They are not out. So
But they're back up.
I think it's Yimba.
Yeah.
When they are done with all the distractions of CAF competition, they will come back steaming. And of course, that's what they always do. And also say, don't rule out Rangers International.
I don't know why
Don't
I
rule
have
out
that
Rangers.
thought, but I feel that Rangers may probably defend this title.
Yeah, it's possible. So those are the two teams I would say don't rule them out, because they will be there. They will come pushing and they will come hard.
Okay.
So Rangers they found a way to win matches when Fidelis Lechuku is not with the team. So that's a good thing for them. And as well as even Remo Stars, they are winning matches when Daniel is not there. So
Yeah.
I think don't rule out Rangers and Imba. They are the teams that I'll be most likely looking out for in the second half of the season.
So I love this crowning part of my discussion for today because it's about our nation, Nigeria. Of course, we have the final game. Not the final game, sorry. The World Cup qualifiers coming up a match. That's 2 months from now. And we're playing away and home. There's different weeks away and home. On the 17th, we're playing to Rwanda. And then coming back, we're playing against Mozambique. And at this point, we've just had the unveiling, should I say the announcement of a new coach. I would like to do the honors. I would love you to do the honors. Please tell us about our new coach.
Well, the new coach of the Super Eagles is it's someone that I think he made a name. He made a name. He made a name for himself. It probably wasn't the kind of name that he would love to make, but then
PR is still PR.
It was a meme. It went around, You remember that
As you can see it on the screen now.
yeah, on the
that
screen
video,
when
yeah.
when uh, when uh, when Mali
Lost out.
conceded to is it Ivory Coast
Yeah,
in the
they lost
AFCON.
out.
They lost out to Ivory Coast in the AFCON. I think he was there. You see the enthusiasm.
Yeah,
In
he was so
demands. He
passionate.
was so
He's such a
passionate.
passionate man. I don't know
And,
why they're not seeing this passion.
and they had to pour him water because the guy
Too
was
much.
going.
Through a lot.
So is that man Eric
Shelley.
Eric Sekou Shelle? It's a Malian. He is the new head coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, and yeah, I think he has taken his job is immediate. He has taken over the affairs of the Super Eagles, and I think he's also going to be there with
As
the
the
Chan
Chan,
Eagles
yeah.
here in Kenya and Tanzania and Uganda. So I think that's the man that will take us. And do you know what I like about this appointment? A lot of people are criticizing the appointment, but I like something about it. I was one of those that was clamoring, if we are bringing a foreign coach, let's bring an African. I was looking at some big names, but then you look at when you watch Mali during the last AFCON,
They were impressive.
they were very impressive. They had a clear pattern of play, and probably they were a bit naive when they lost out to Ivory Coast.
But considering our squad depth,
considering how they were playing, the pattern of play, it was very clear that they had instruction from coach, and they were well instructed to play the way they were playing in the tournament. So I think it's going to bring development to the Super Eagles because he is coming in to prove a point.
Yeah.
As an African, being employed by the biggest or the most popular country in Africa, let me use that, the biggest country in Africa, being employed to lead the players, are the best players in the world that are playing in the Super Eagles squad. So I think it's an honor for him, and it's something that he will want to prove himself that he's capable for this particular task. He knows that if he succeeds with Nigeria, then he has a very big and huge career ahead of him. So then he's going to do everything. He's going to bring everything that is needed. Yeah, he's going to prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are doubting him. Yeah. So I want to see him succeed, and I'm one of those persons that have been clamoring that we should find a coach that understands how to play football. No, it's not even we don't have a pattern of play.
Okay.
We are just doing whatever that we see.
Anything goes.
Anything goes. So we need a coach that can bring his philosophy and stamp his authority and says, look, guys, this is how I want to play. And I think Jose Pesaro did that, but it wasn't a progressive style of football. It was the Boko Haram Jose Mourinho type of football.
Okay.
But then I think we are going to be very progressive with Eric. So I wish him all the best, and I would encourage Nigerians to support him. Just forget about if he was maybe a white man, someone with a white skin, we would be giving NPFL thumbs up. But because he's an African, we are looking down on him. I would advise everyone to let's give him a chance.
I'm feeling is that water that was poured on his head that is really the bone of contention. People are saying that imagine that was Mali with their low level of stress, and you're coming to Nigeria with our high level of stress. We know the year word. I think you're going to. But
I like the passion. He showed that passion. There are some coaches that when they lose a game, they will just shake hands and move on. But then he showed that he cared. He showed the passion, and although it was a meme, it went on. It was very funny and
it was mostly used by Nigerians.
Yeah, of course, we are the ones to train stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a fun time for Nigerian football. Yeah. We are exploring. We are going into untested waters, and I like it. And I would hope that if they have been able to trust this particular manager to handle the Super Eagles, then going forward, probably maybe they will see an Ilechuku or maybe Daniel Ogumodede or Emmanuel Amunike, coming to. If they can trust a Malian, of course, I think in the future they will trust a Nigerian and give him the opportunity to do his own work with the national team.
All right, so thank you so much. That wraps up our conversation for today. On behalf of the fans, I want to thank you for coming on board today's show and for gracing us with your presence and your intellect and your analysis. Thank you so much. It was such a privilege. I say this from the bottom of my heart, from the deepest, yeah. It was such a privilege to sit with you on today's episode. Thank you so much.
It's also a privilege. Honestly, it's a privilege to also sit with you on this. I think I'm one of the people that likes what CenterKick is doing.
Thank you so
And
much.
we'll keep encouraging.
Yes.
This kind of content. We need content coming from Nigeria. We've seen this all over the world, but we need good quality content coming out of Nigeria. Carefully analyzing what's happening in the local scene. So I think a big thumbs up to CenterKick and
yeah. To myself.
To you.
I'm
you.
amazing.
You don't need to praise yourself.
I'm
Let
an
me praise
amazing
you.
person.
Yeah, you are amazing. You
Thank you
much.
so much.
You're
Thank
too
you.
much. So
I appreciate
kudos
it.
to you and
Thank you.
keep it up.
Yeah, thank you.
You are just starting, so
Yeah.
in a year or two you'll be a superstar.
Amen.
And Center will be looking forward to keeping hold of you. And big boys will be dragging you.
I'm sure my
big boys like the Athletic Nigeria will be dragging AJ from CenterKick.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see who's going to win that fight. But whichever way, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on board today.
Thank you.
So we've come to the end of today's episode. I was so glad you stayed through to watch from the beginning to the end of today's episode. Please, like I mentioned at the start of the video, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at CenterKick and follow us across all of our social media handles. That is Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and of course, we have a WhatsApp channel. Click on the follow button, subscribe, and please share to your friends, tag somebody, repost, reshare, whatever you call it. Thank you so much. It was so glad to come back to your screens. And once again, Happy New Year.